Welcome to the Retail Tech Podcast, where we talk about the implementation aspects of technologies used in retail stores and e-commerce as well. Basically, all the different channels that a retailer would touch a customer. My name is Darius Wasafi, here with my partner, Nathan Kolta. How are you doing today, Nathan?
Fantastic. How are things coming along? How was your trip?
It was pretty good. It was, going to CES is always exciting and overwhelming at the same time. So I guess that's could be our intro into the session today. We're gonna basically, I went over to CES for a couple of days last week and wanted to see what kind of technologies or products are being displayed over there that would apply to retail. So we're going to talk about that today. And CES is a humongous show, and it just takes a couple of days just to figure out where things are.
Yeah.
What's in the South Hall and North Hall and Central Hall, and then in the other hotels. So I know I didn't see everything. I'm pretty sure I didn't see everything. I don't think if anybody can actually see everything.
Yeah.
So if there is anything that anybody listening wants to tell us about that I didn't see, please feel free to contact us. But in general, what I wanted to do was to see where things fall within the different ways that I actually categorize technologies for retailers.
Mm.
And these categories are basically, there is a few of them. I'll just go over them. First one is informing the customers that you exist. Somehow the customers need to know that you exist. That's typically marketing and advertising. All the different tools and activities and technology that's used for that. The next thing is getting the shopper to come to your store. Now, is this a retail location down the block or even online or an app? You still need to use different tools to actually get people to come in. The third category is engaging the customers when they are in the store. So now you've got the customer in the store. What are you going to do? How are you going to engage them? Four is converting the lookers into shoppers when they are in the store and completing the transaction. The number five is all the after sales support, customer service, returns, anything related to after sales. And then the sixth one, which is really a redo of this entire cycle to re-engage and help the customers through this process again.
Got it. So there's six pieces to these 6 points that you're trying to come across. Informing shoppers you exist. Number two, getting the shoppers to your store. Number three, engaging your shoppers that are at your store. And then number four, converting lookers into shoppers and completing the transaction. Number five, after sales support, customer service, returns, what to do. And then number six, re-engage, referrals, recommendations, reviews, things like that.
You got it. That's it. So it's just a way that I try to keep things organized, because we have probably thousands of different tools and applications that are at the disposal of retailers. How do you organize these so that you can actually, have a meaningful and manageable process? So when I look at the first one at the show, I saw. So the question is, how do you inform shoppers you exist? Right now, retailers basically have to do advertising online mostly, as well as if you have a local store, you can do the traditional advertising. I mean, these are pretty standard things, and people have been doing them for a while. What I wanted to do was to see if I can find something different. Um, One of the ways that retailers can actually expand their market is by selling on marketplaces. I think might have talked about this on one of the other episodes. Um, but a marketplace is basically like, let's say Amazon. People go to Amazon, they list their products on Amazon, and you're taking advantage of the pull that Amazon has and the trust that people have with Amazon in selling your products to Amazon's customers. You are paying Amazon a premium for that, but you don't have to do marketing and advertising separately.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw a couple of interesting models where there's a concept especially in Southeast Asia, that I've started seeing is basically, I think, is called or referred to as a direct imported products. And this situation over there is that brand is very important for people. So what they want to do is, for example, if they want to buy an Adidas shoe, they want to make sure it is from Adidas, because you can get a lot of knockoffs and it's really hard to, some of them are so good, it's hard to know. And so basically a new industry has started, which is directly importing products to customers in those countries from manufacturers and retailers outside the country. Alibaba basically, I think, really started this with their Tmall, and they are growing by leaps and bounds. But the other countries are also getting into the mix here, and I saw a couple of different ones which were pretty interesting. Um, and we're gonna set up probably some interviews with them coming up.
Mm. Okay, sounds good. So, what exactly then is Alibaba trying to do? Is it a copy of what Amazon is doing, or is this a way for them to have a different set of customers, vendors? Can you just tell me briefly? I don't get that.
Right. So Alibaba has basically, they have many different businesses, but two of the ones that we're talking about, the main ones are, one is where the manufacturers inside China can find customers outside of China. And this is for bulk, really like larger volume. That's the main Alibaba business. But they have something else called the Tmall, where people in China can actually buy products from different vendors, including a large part of them are companies from outside of China, companies that have no presence in China. So Alibaba is really, they're very smart. They're trying to cover multiple paths of commerce, basically.
Mm.
So, and everything they say, everything that you want to do, it all depends on your customer. With the culture in China and the affinity that they have with brand value, the Tmall concept really works well, because people will pay more than even buying the same product, probably in there, just to make sure that it is coming from Nike in Beaverton, Oregon, for
Mm.
example.
Got it. Okay.
So now integration is really what I want to get into when we start to get more detailed and actually have talked to some vendors.
Mm-hmm.
Is this is I mean that's a concept, but how do you actually start using it? What's the technical side of actually integrating with these different marketplaces,
Mm-hmm.
and how does it affect all the systems that you have in your store? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go into that when we have those episodes, when we have those interviews.
Okay, got it. Let's go to number 2 then. Getting the shoppers to your store.
Yeah, so getting people to come into the store is an enormous challenge. It's just the problem is that salespeople in retail are not trained, and they're not really not good in outbound sales. So they're totally dependent on advertising to drive customers in. Now, this whole idea of salespeople in retail not doing outbound, I think, is a big mistake in retail, and it's going to have to change, and it will change, because you have to go beyond your comfort zone, but it is not going to change very quickly. So in the meantime, the question is, what can retailers use to get people to come into their store? One of the things that I saw at the show, which is really this is a major new industry, is the virtual reality concept.
Mm.
And people are, it started really from gaming, but people are starting to see what other applications there might be for this. And I think retail is going to be an interesting one. I tested a couple of VR sets,
Mm-hmm.
um, both on the active and passive side. And I don't know if people know about that, but I'll just explain a little bit. An active virtual reality experience is where you, as the person that's in, looking at this, I guess, the landscape,
Mm-hmm.
um, are actually doing things in there. You're moving around, whatever, you're actually taking some action. That's called an active experience. A passive experience is that you're just watching a movie.
Mm-hmm.
A movie is being played for you. That's passive. So in the part of the active, I think I saw one where you could actually do a fly through a store. Let's say, I wanted to see what's in, I don't know, any store, any location.
So, like, if I was in a supermarket, I would typically assume that milk is going to be in the back of the store and in probably one of the corners. If I wanted
Right.
to do a fly through, let's say, a supermarket at Ralph's or Pavilions, what are the chances that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that doesn't count as retail. Maybe it counts as something else. But
No, it is that grocery is also retail, but it's different. This is probably going to be more useful for different types of products, at least initially.
uh
So
huh.
let's say you wanted to buy furniture and you would go to one of the major furniture stores using from your home with your virtual reality set. You could actually go inside that store and see everything that they have. Now, in order for that to happen, they have to have things recorded already, which is a lot of work. So I don't know how that works, but you mix you mix that with the idea of drones, and sky is the limit. Basically, it's like,
Mm.
you could have drones in the store for different people that are using their VR sets from home or office. It would be a pretty crazy situation in the store with all these things buzzing around. But I'm sure, things, people are gonna start testing things. It's just a different way of exploring and finding things without having to actually drive over there. So it saves a lot of time and it's efficient. And that's why I think eventually we are going to have solutions that utilize these technologies. How? I don't know, when. So it's basically more of a like a long-term uh, technology.
Got it. So number three is engaging when shoppers are at your store. Does that have anything to do with like Minority Report when you see the virtual reality guy pop out from the store and says, "Hey, these
Yeah.
are your pants. These fit you." Blah blah blah. Is this something along those lines?
Yeah, so that's one of the applications, and we've had an episode on beacons. So that's what beacons enable, that
Mm,
experience that you just mentioned.
got it.
But there are other things that can be done. So what I saw at the show, I saw a couple of what's called digital mirrors.
Uh huh.
And digital mirrors are basically products that a shopper in the store can see themselves in a video monitor screen, which is not really a mirror, but it is using a camera. It is displaying their own picture back to them. And not only can you like turn around and see your back without actually having to get multiple mirrors and break your neck in turning around, uh, you can also share the images with different people. And really, one of the best applications of these are where you can actually change colors, you can change different clothing on yourself, bring them
Wow.
in. So there is a lot of, possibilities on that kind of application. It engages people more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Gives them more options, maybe even to customize or something like that.
right, right. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that I saw was an interesting product, which is called basically it's like a connected signage. Um, and what you want to do right now when I go into a retail store, uh, I'm basically in the store, and that retailer may have a lot of useful information on their online presence, in their website, in their Facebook page, their Twitter feed, or whatever, that might be of benefit to me somehow. It might help me find things that are popular, for example, that other people are looking. It might help me find like reviews really quickly. So let's say you go in a store right now, and this is a topic of like showrooming and web rooming that we're going to talk about in a different episode. But you're going to take a look at a product, and I wonder how good this product is. Is this washing machine, is this good? Are people happy with it? Well, right now you have to go get your own phone, search for that, and go to the different websites, maybe Amazon,
Mm.
and find the reviews. What if the retailer had the reviews somewhere where you could see them really easy,
Mm-hmm.
right there?
So
So,
it's almost like on Amazon when you buy something, you can look down the page and then see other
mhm.
people's comments and reviews. You're saying this type of technique or technology could easily be added or should be added onto a physical uh, device or something like that.
In a physical location,
Mm.
it would be helpful. It would be, again, what you want to do is you want to help the customer find what they're looking for, answer any questions or doubts that they have as quickly as possible, and then help them purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
So this type of technology would help the customer in answering any questions that they have,
Got it.
or give them different type of feedback that they can. That just means that you help them, right? When you help somebody, they become a better customer for you, and they are going to talk to their friends about it, right?
Yes. Yes. I see what you're saying. So, I'm wondering how that type of technology could apply to maybe um, a post transaction, or how do you get that review from someone that you just sold it to, like or sold it like 3 months ago? I'm wondering how that would tie into it at some point. Maybe you'll talk about it. Um, but
Yeah,
mhm.
I think it's possible. It's just something that people need to start testing these things and come up with new ways of using them. But what is obvious to me right now is that the information that's on a retailer's website or social media is not available in the store to their customers,
Got it. Yeah.
and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about omni-channel, is not just like, okay, I can show you the inventory on your on your app. That's just the beginning of the whole experience. There's a lot more things going on in a retailer's ecosystem
Mm-hmm.
that that they need to make omnitize, I guess I can say. So, yeah. So, moving on from like engagement in the store, number four is converting the lookers into shoppers and
Mm-hmm.
completing the transaction. So,
Mm-hmm.
I saw quite a few sessions actually, and products really focus on payment
Yes.
methods. Payments are going to be really important right now, with all the different wallet products. Um, it just that's an area where things really are going to evolve, and retailers need to look into that as well. So, we'll have some discussions, probably an episode on just that topic and what I found over there.
Mm-hmm.
And The other thing is the POS systems. There was a couple of mobile applications, and then I also saw a an interactive kiosk. It was almost like the digital mirror, but the products were curated for you in on the the screen, and purchasing them was a snap. It was like so easy, just like one touch of your phone to the product, and boom, you have the product. So this is something that, for example, they're testing in train stations and like in even in a shopping mall, not in the store.
Wow.
You're just walking through and you see something, and it hits that question mark that you have in the back of your mind, and you can buy it really quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
that was an interesting uh, product as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, number 5. After sales support, customer service, returns, etc.
Right. So I think for I didn't see anything at the show regarding this. I mean, this is a huge area, and we've talked about email and SMS technologies, texting to for customer support and service. But I didn't see anything at the store. So I at least from the different locations, exhibits that I saw, I didn't see anything on that. And same thing with the re-engagement part. Those are just like categories that I want to keep track of, just so that we can organize things in the future. Now, one of the things to remember is CES is not a retail show, and
Mm.
it is not a business show. It's really focused towards consumer electronics, but consumers are the shoppers. So if you don't know what they're doing, you're going to be really limited in how you actually service them. And of course, in today's world, everybody's overwhelmed with information, and everybody's getting so many different offers of prices and everything. So loyalty is really at a low these days.
Mm.
Um, so if you actually are able to see ahead of the rest of the pack what technology consumers are using and be able to engage with them with that technology, with that means, I think it would help retailers really, get a huge competitive advantage.
Mm-hmm. Okay, number 6. Re-engage, referrals, recommendations, reviews. What else?
Yeah, so this is really something that can fit under marketing, and it is a part of it, but it's really a combination of all the other sections, the different categories that I talked about. Uh, you know, it's been said by many different experts that the cheapest sale is this selling to your existing customers. That's when you actually start to increase your margins. So any kind of referrals, recommendations, reviews, um, and this is ties into that connected display idea that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think this is where that application actually comes full circle with the in-store experience. So the online reviews and ratings have definitely developed a lot more recently since the e-commerce, I guess, boom started. But that hasn't translated in the store, so it hasn't, come into the store yet. So that's where I think the display technology is gonna help, and that's really what I saw related to this at the show.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I can only imagine there's an enormous amount of things to see, and it's very difficult to see everything. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wish you could have gone. I know we were planning on it, and you had a last minute thing that came up, but it is and luckily this year there was no snow on the ground. I've been there when it was like you had a foot of snow on the
wow.
ground in Vegas in
Wow.
January, so it was good. So yeah, so look for other episodes that we're gonna have related to the actually specific products. And for anybody that's listening, I would love to hear if they saw something that's retail related at CES. Let us know. I'd love to know about these products.
Thank you for informing us. It's
Thank
really
you.
neat to have a sort of organized way of getting uh, some an overview of what we could see in the future. Thank you for sharing.
Sure. Good talking to you, Nathan, and have a awesome day.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye bye.